Hey guys, welcome back, and this will be my Saudi Arabian Grand Prix post-race review. Now, okay, to start off, I feel like the race went well, but I think like the race could have gone better if there was a red flag and a safety car. I mean, there was a safety car, but the safety car kind of didn't really change the course of the race. Yes, it may have happened in like the first 3 laps, and then they had to do like 3 or 4 laps under the safety car. I feel like the way the race ended, it was not as many people would have anticipated, considering we had, yes, Oscar Piastri got into the lead and made the first corner, but when he made that turn, it was almost like he didn't want Max to be off the track, and many people thought that Max was actually off the track instead of Oscar Piastri actually pushing him off. And then later, which took him, the steward took about 2 laps at least to figure out whether Max actually went off, gained an advantage, which was what he had, and then given a 5-second penalty. But I think like when the race was starting, I feel like it was okay until Tsunoda and Gasly crashed, which caused the safety car to happen. But I feel like when the safety car came out, it changed the course of the race and caused everyone to slow down and then made all the drivers catch up to the safety car. But I feel like when they had to catch up to the safety car, it was kind of like they needed to catch up to the safety car, because if you don't catch up to the safety car on time, that will not only make the race have less laps, but I think when the safety car came out and they had to do a couple of laps around the safety car, I feel like the reason for it was not only because they crashed, but they thought there was going to be further crashing, which I think happened with another driver, because I think a driver so Tsunoda crashed into the wall while also colliding with Gasly, which for a Red Bull driver who got promoted last race, I feel like it went well that they had to do the safety car, but having to be crashed with an Alpine kind of doesn't settle it, because Red Bull are meant to be the best team and are supposedly and debatedly the best team. But I feel like they could have done slightly better if the race did not have a safety car. Because if the race didn't have a safety car at all, then the race would be 1 hour and 17 minutes long due to the track having so many corners. And since the track has so many corners, there's only like, I believe, 2 straights. I think when they had to do the safety car, it was not like I don't think they wanted the safety car in the first place. But then, far forward a couple laps, we see Lewis Hamilton and Kimi Antonelli trying to overtake each other. I mean, Hamilton did overtake Antonelli, but Antonelli later didn't try at least overtake him. And then I think most drivers went for a 1-stop. So this is how it went. Some drivers did soft, some drivers did hard. Most drivers did the soft, some drivers did the hards. One of them being Lando Norris. when the softs were being shown, when the softs were actually going, I feel like when they did the softs, it was kind of harsh, because if you had softs, then not only will it overheat because it's a faster compound, it would also kind of give the team a bit of a thinking time after they put it on, because then you could actually attempt to think for the next set of tires that you want to do. Now, if they went for hards at the first and then went for mediums, then that would have given them a slight advantage. But since most drivers would expect you to do softs and then go to the hards, I feel like they could have probably done better at not only starting with the mediums or hards, but actually ending with the softs instead of starting with the softs. So if you ended with the softs, not only will you have a potential fastest lap, which I know doesn't allow a bonus point, but at least allows you to have the fastest lap of the race. I think they could have done better. And Lando Norris was so close to Charles Leclerc that when he attempted to overtake Leclerc was just too quick, even though Charles wasn't really close to the race leader. And many of the cars were literally lapped. I think about 5 of the cars were lapped, and then when they got to the end, they actually finished the lap early. So that means that they had to go for another round because they were already lapped. And if you're lapped, that means that you have been overtaken by the race leader. And if you get lapped twice, then that means you have to try and go faster. And I feel like most of the drivers that were lapped got a bit frustrated when they were lapped, because it kind of didn't make them have a thinking time. I mean, they did have strategies, but when they had to swap the drivers, like the Haas and Kick Sauber did, and because both teams and both drivers were both trying to do different strategies. And if you do a different strategy compared to your teammate, that may give your team a massive boost. But if you do the same strategy, then how are you going to go into the pit double stacked without having multiple crew members having 4 sets of tyres on the ground and then swapping them, which kind of makes it harder, because if you're on the same strategy, then that means that the teams are gonna know what your strategy is if you're gonna be on the same strategy. And when Lando got P4, I was a bit frustrated, because since he got P4, that meant that he kind of could have expected a podium. And then Charles Leclerc got Ferrari's first podium of the season, which kind of is astonishing. And the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix track, so the circuit, it has 26 corners. So the more corners there are on the track, the longer it will probably take, depending on whether they're fast speed corners, slow speed corners, or medium speed corners. And most drivers would have expected some to at least crash at around the ending corners, so 24 to 26, because of how tight it is. And also, the track is so tight that when you're trying to overtake someone, you have to think strategically on where you want to overtake them. Most drivers would want to do on the main straight because that's pretty much the easiest area, right? But there is also another way you could overtake a driver on the corners, even if the corners are tight, because since they have an advantage, it means that if you overtake them on a different corner without them even noticing, you would, which was what Kimi Antonelli did to Lewis Hamilton, because Kimi Antonelli was told by his team to overtake Hamilton by surprise, which he managed to do, which when I saw was quite astonishing. And if most of you were watching closely on the replay or on the actual race, you were able to see Oscar Piastri remove like tape from his visor. There are only at least two reasons why they would do this. One, because the visor is dirty, or two, because they want a clearer vision so that they can see the track clearer. And when he did that, that meant that his team could have paid a massive fine unless they had already spoken to the officials about what they were going to do, which most teams would do unless they would get, but if they didn't, then they would get fined. And when the drivers were going around and Max got a penalty, Max was actually annoyed that he got a 5-second penalty. And if you don't serve your 5-second penalty in the pits, or you serve it incorrectly, then that means you would probably get either a 10-second penalty or a race ban if they actually didn't follow the rules. And many people would expect Max to at least finish around about P4 because of his 5-second penalty. And if you have a 10-second penalty, that's just worse, which is what Liam Lawson got for, I think, ignoring a black and white flag. And if you ignore a black and white flag, then that means you have to serve a 10-second penalty, I believe. And many of the people who were watching the race wanted either Max or Piastri to win the race, but to my surprise, Piastri won the race. And then Piastri got P2 and then Max won the race. It turns out that Oscar Piastri was able to at least, and I actually mean it, get to 99 points, and the first Australian driver to do it since his own manager, Mark Webber, in 2010. And then, since Piastri won the race, that meant that he got 99 points, which, if you combine with Lando's points, gives the team over 200 points. Well, that is my Saudi Arabian Grand Prix post-race review. I hope I'll see you later, and goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and share with another person.